So I'm gonna start off, and I know I've kind of been talking, but I'm gonna start off kind of looking at other people's why and how they got to where they are, and then Tim, I'll let you kind of tie that into what really changed for you to where you knew your why and you are where you are today. Because yeah, we can go see MrFutureOfWork.com, we can go see LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, see all the wonderful things you're doing there, but how did you find out your why? So I'll start off with mine. Several years ago, I was working at an oil and gas company, and my teammates and I, we went out to lunch. We had a new grad that had just joined our team, and she, very fresh grad, really excited about her position. And we're talking about different things. There were about 10 to 15 of us from our team there. And the girl asked me, and she's Asian, and she also attended UT like me, and she said, for many years, you were at UT in computer science, you were pretty much the only black person for many years. And of course, when on the table where I was, she asked me again, she asked that right? I mean, I was obviously the only black person there in the room. And so she asked, how was that for you? And of course, people were eating and the whole table got quiet. And I did not answer. And it wasn't that I was angry or maybe I was offended by that. I actually didn't know how to answer her. So years later, she's connected to me on LinkedIn, and now she posts a lot of things about D&I. She does a lot of D&I activities for that oil and gas company right now. She's known for that. And it dawned on me that she was asking because she was curious, because that was her question. And then it dawned on me my why is that I've been in so many situations where I'm the only one in the room, I'm the only woman in the room, I'm the only black in the room. I mean, to bring that on the table. But my why is that I feel comfortable doing what is uncomfortable because I've been in uncomfortable situations. And so that's my why. Anytime I have this God-given idea to do something, I don't care if somebody's going to tell me no. As long as I know this is what I have to do, I go ahead and do it because I know somebody's watching, somebody's out there that knows that, hey, I need to do this as well. I might be their inspiration to do that same thing, or I might be their inspiration to keep doing what they're doing. And so that's my why. And then another one, I'm gonna let Tim talk. Bill Gates. So I was actually watching his documentary today, and two questions that his interviewer asked him. What is his greatest fear? He said his greatest fear is that his brain not functioning anymore, not him having any more ideas. And then the other thing he said also was that he can't buy time. He can buy many other things, but time he cannot buy. And every single person has the same 24 hours. So what are we doing with our 24 hours? The same books that he read, many other influential people read those books and didn't do anything about it. But he's using his time to do those things. So, Tim, how did you know what your why? How did you get there, and what keeps you going?
Yeah, it's so powerful because a lot of what you just said is very similar to my story in terms of how I got to the point where I'm at now. So, really quick summary of my background. I currently work with the We Company as their global evangelist, which means I just travel the world talking about what our brand does in terms of from a social impact lens to a product innovation and all of these neat things that we do. So essentially building community around our brand. But I'm also the CEO of Guide, which is a social learning application for high school students to learn life skills from their favorite content creators. So think about if you're a videographer, an entrepreneur, an amazing leader, and you're passionate about giving and sharing, teaching life skills, we want our application to be this really bite-sized way for you to, create a video and share and give back and help people, learn most important essential skills to survive in corporate America in their career throughout, right? But really, to this point now where I'm at, I didn't get here by being idle, right? By doing what's comfortable. It really came to me that I narrowed down my why when I was actually in college, grad school, and this was not too long ago, 2 years ago, as you mentioned, and I really started getting active on LinkedIn. But around that same time as well, I was very introspective on where do I want to go in my career long term. I was living in Austin, Texas, going to the University of Texas at Austin, currently getting my master's degree. And the reason why I went to go get my master's degree is because I felt like once I graduated undergrad at Texas Tech University, which is where I got my undergrad degree in psychology, that I didn't necessarily have the requisite skills to survive in corporate America or to have a really strong career. I felt as if I still needed more skills. I still needed to build a network, right? So I went to UT Austin with the intent to do that, but also as an opportunity for self-discovery, to understand, okay, why am I here on earth? Like, what am I really called to do that I can uniquely give to the world, right? With my skills, with my energy. And you know, one day, I literally wake up, I remember this day, in my apartment. I lived in like the worst apartment in Austin, Texas. I had roaches everywhere. Like, it wasn't the nicest, it was the roughest neighborhood, but you know, it was what I could afford at the time when I was working 3 jobs to make ends meet, but at the same time doing grad school because you just have to hustle like that, right? I wake up one day and you know, it was one of those days where I just felt as if I needed to be alone, but more importantly, I needed to ask myself some tough questions. So I remember I wake up that day and I literally go to the library. I have my notebook in hand. I still have the same black notebook. And I say to myself, you know what? Today in this library, I'm going to land on what do I want my purpose statement to be, right? So I literally frame out, okay, what are the skills that I have now? You know, okay, I have a psychology degree. I'm really good at communications. A lot of people tell me I'm good at building relationships, you know, but also what am I passionate about? And what do I want to be known for? And I really landed on community building. I love doing that, right? I, you know, come from a background in which my dad, who's in the audience, he's a pastor. He's built community his whole life, you know, building a church in a parish, right? Growing up in high school, I always loved, you know, being around people and, you know, introducing people together. So like community has always been a part of my identity. But really, you know, I identify my passions, I identify my skills, but the biggest thing that I identified was what I want my purpose to be. And often I tell people my purpose statement, my why, is to strengthen the bonds that people share through compassionate and empathic action, right? To strengthen the bonds that people share through compassionate and empathic action. And that's me proactively, you know, finding ways to where I can bring people together, but bring people together with the intent where they understand where their interests align, how they can support each other, how they can cultivate big things together, right? And it's so funny though is that literally being isolated that day and being in that time of my life where I was doing that deep work, that soul searching, is how I led to my why and my purpose statement, but also understanding that it's the history of where I grew up and, you know, who I want to become in terms of my career, right? That allows me to think about the things that I'm doing now as WeWork's global evangelist, traveling the world, building community, but also as someone that's building his own company and understanding how important what it is that we're building is the fact that all of it tacks back to my why, right? This need to strengthen the bonds and bring people together. And I think that, you know, for a lot of people who may not understand where they want to go in their career, it really does help to start with a purpose statement on your why.
Yeah, so the key word for how I was able to find his why was the isolation. So, you know, a lot of us, you know, we hear about, hey, you know, some people, you know, you might be an introvert, you might be extroverted, whatever your way of dealing with life is, it's very important that as individuals we take that time out to kind of map out, hey, why am I here on earth? What is the goal for my career? So it's taking that time. It could be taking long walks, it could be actually just taking a long vacation somewhere, and you know, but at some point it's like that, separating yourself out to just focus on you. You know, we remember that saying that you can't give if you don't have. So it's kind of like figuring out what it is that you have to give so that you can actually be helpful to people. That's really good.